At my wedding, my mom smiled and said, "We're giving the car her parents gifted you to your sister." My sister laughed and added, "Relax. It's just a car." My bride just looked at her and said, "Your envelope was empty, but we took it as a symbolic gift." I just whispered, "Give them this." My wife passed over an envelope. They opened it smiling, but what they read left them speechless. I saw the smile before I saw the betrayal. It was the kind of smile only a mother could wear at her child's wedding, soft, bright, rehearsed. The music was still playing. My bride and I had just finished our first dance. Glasses clinked in the background. Somewhere, someone was laughing. Then my mother leaned in and said it. "We're giving the car her parents gifted you to your sister." She said it like she was passing on a piece of pie. Like it was just a family decision, settled in the kitchen over coffee. No warning. No question. Just, "We're giving away your wedding gift." My sister, Danielle, stood beside her, dress sparkling under the lights, and laughed. "Relax," she said. "It's just a car." My bride turned her head slowly toward her, her voice perfectly calm. "Your envelope was empty, but we took it as a symbolic gift." Silence. Not the kind you hear. The kind you feel, when air stops moving and eyes freeze mid-blink. I didn't raise my voice. Didn't flinch. I just leaned in and whispered to my wife, "Give them this." She reached into her small purse, pulled out a white envelope, and handed it to my mother. My father stepped in too, suddenly curious, lips pressed tight. Danielle took a step forward, her smirk stretching. They opened it like it was a birthday card, but what they read left them speechless. You don't grow up thinking your wedding day will be the battleground. But maybe I should have known. Danielle always got what she wanted. Not through tantrums or shouting that would have made it too obvious. She was smarter than that. She smiled sweetly. She asked gently. And when that didn't work, our parents stepped in for her. I was the older brother, the resilient one. That meant I could wait, could give in, could hand things over without a scene. She got the bigger room. I got the explanation. She's younger. She needs more space. She wrecked my laptop in college. It was an accident, Mom said. You should have backed it up. She crashed her first car, a car my grandparents helped buy, and they blamed the weather. I paid for my own with 3 years of warehouse shifts and cheap ramen dinners. When I got engaged, my fiancé's parents gave us a car. Not flashy, just something reliable to start our new life. It was the first gift I didn't earn through sacrifice. The first thing that felt truly ours. That must have been the problem. Danielle had never been told no in a language she understood. When her own boyfriend backed out of their lease, she cried. When she missed a job interview, she blamed the universe. And every time, my parents spun the narrative to protect her from consequences. She's just going through a rough patch. She's sensitive. She's your sister. But the rough patch had lasted a decade, and I was tired of being her safety net. When we got engaged, Danielle didn't even pretend to be happy. She made jokes about finally settling and asked my fiancé if she was sure about marrying someone so intense. My bride just smiled. Quiet. Unbothered. But I saw the flick in her eyes. The way she cataloged every word. Then came the envelope. My in-laws gave it to us at the rehearsal dinner. Inside was the title to a car, a wedding gift. Clean, used, reliable. Not fancy, but symbolic. You built this life together, her father said. Here's something to help you move forward. We didn't show it off. Didn't post about it. Just tucked the papers away, grateful. Until the morning of the wedding, when my mother knocked on our dressing suite. Her voice was soft. Her smile practiced. Danielle's been having car trouble. It's unsafe. You understand. I looked at her confused. Then she said it. That car her parents gave you? We thought it might be more useful for your sister. You two can manage with one for now. It wasn't a question. My bride laughed. Not kindly. We're not giving away our wedding gift, she said. My mother's smile faltered. Well, we already told her she could have it. Don't make this a thing. That should have been the end. But I didn't want drama on our wedding day. I told myself we'd deal with it after. But now, in the middle of our reception, my mother made it public. We're giving the car her parents gifted you to your sister. And Danielle? Danielle just laughed like it was all a joke. Like she hadn't already gone into our garage last night and taken photos. Like she hadn't posted them with the caption, "Finally got a ride that fits me." The envelope we handed over? Not a check. Not a thank you card. It was a notarized letter from my in-law's attorney, stating that the vehicle, registered in my bride's name, was not to be sold, gifted, or transferred without her written and notarized consent. Any attempt to do so would trigger an automatic legal review and void any future inheritance agreements. Danielle's smirk vanished first. Then Mom's face paled. My father took the paper, read it, and muttered, "You're being petty." But my bride? She leaned forward, her voice like glass. You wanted something symbolic? This is it. My mother didn't blink when she read the envelope. But her smile, that controlled, pageant-perfect smile, trembled just slightly at the corners. Danielle leaned over her shoulder, reading too fast to hide her eagerness. And then it happened. Her face dropped. I watched it in real time, her lips parting, her brows twitching upward, her pupils shrinking like she'd just been slapped. My father reached for the letter with 2 fingers, scanning it like it might rewrite itself if he stared long enough. "What is this?" he finally muttered. My wife answered before I could. "A notarized legal declaration," she said softly. "Drafted 2 weeks ago. Signed by both of us." Her voice was steady, calm, but her words were edged like glass. "It states that all wedding gifts, including that vehicle, are legally ours. Any attempt to reassign, transfer, or claim it without our explicit consent will be treated as an unauthorized transfer and pursued accordingly." The silence that followed? Explosive. Not loud, but dense. Heavy. Like something had broken that could never be glued back. "You can't be serious," Danielle spat. "You're threatening us. On your wedding day? You crossed a boundary," I said, "when you overstepped, knowing it wasn't yours to claim." My mom scoffed, pushing the paper back into the envelope like it was beneath her. "This is overreaction. Drama. It's a car, not a child." "No," I said, "it's the principle. It's everything that came before the car." Danielle threw her arms up. "Oh my God, here we go. This is about high school again, isn't it? About me getting the bigger room or Mom buying me a dress." I looked straight at her. "It's about you always assuming what's mine is temporary, that it exists until you want it. You're being so petty." "No," my wife said. "We're being done." Danielle's jaw dropped. "Well, you think you're tough now, huh? Just because you married into money." That was it. I took a step forward. Just one. "You don't know a thing about what I've built. About what we built. You think everything we have was handed to us because that's the only life you've ever known." Danielle's mouth opened, but I didn't let her speak. "You've coasted. For years. Avoiding consequences while others pay the price." Mom gasped. "Don't speak to her like that. She's family." "No," I said, voice flat. "She's always relied on others." Danielle's face turned red. "I'm struggling." "You've grown used to being saved by others," I snapped. "You're not perfect either," she yelled. "You left home, remember? You ghosted us for 3 years. Because I had to breathe." My voice cracked then, not from weakness, but finality. "Because being around you was a full-time job. Because I was done watching you break things and get comforted while I fixed them and got ignored." My mother stepped in, voice low and trembling. "We've always supported you." "No," I said. "You tolerated me. You celebrated her." Dad finally spoke. "Okay, enough. This is a wedding. Can we just—" "No," my wife cut in. "We tried to let this slide. We tried to keep it peaceful. You made it public." She turned to Danielle, I sharp. "You posted photos of our car like it was already yours. You came into our day with open hands and an empty envelope, and then smiled like you were owed a trophy." Danielle laughed bitterly. "That envelope was a joke. Obviously. A symbolic gesture." "Symbolic of what?" my wife said, tilting her head. "That you think your presence is a gift?" The gasp that came from my aunt at the next table made Danielle flinch. "You've always been like this," she hissed. "Both of you. Self-righteous. Pretending to be above it all." I looked around. People had stopped dancing. The DJ's hands hovered over the controller, unsure what to do. My cousin's girlfriend whispered something and pulled out her phone. "Recording?" "Maybe." I didn't care anymore. "You're angry," I said, "because for the first time, the spotlight isn't on you. Because this day wasn't built around your needs." My mother raised her chin. "This is still family. You don't treat us like we broke the law. You entered our garage without permission last night," I said coldly. "You took the car out. You took photos." Danielle blinked. "You think we didn't check the cameras?" I asked. Her face turned white. "We weren't stealing it," she stammered. Just wanted to test it. Make sure it was safe." "You used the vehicle without our consent," my wife said, her voice suddenly louder, clearer. "You posted it online. You mocked us. And then you stood here tonight, with your empty envelope, and called it symbolic." Then she smiled. "But this one's real." She handed Danielle a second envelope. A formal notice, addressed directly to her. Danielle looked at it like it burned. My mother reached for it, snatched it from her hands. This is disgusting. No, I said. This is accountability. We are your parents, my father growled. And this is my boundary, I said. That was when my wife turned to the crowd, to the people frozen, watching. I'm sorry, she said, for the interruption. The open bar is still running. The cake's still coming. And we'd love to see you all dance again. Her smile returned. The music started. Danielle stepped back like she'd been shoved. My mother glared, eyes wild, lip trembling. My father muttered something about disgrace and followed them both out. I watched them leave. No apology. No goodbye. Just silence where the storm had been. I looked at my wife. Still glad you married me? I asked, half smiling. She didn't blink. She leaned in, kissed my cheek, and whispered, best investment I ever made. The door shut behind them with a soft, final click. Not a slam. Not a storm out. Just the sound of people who were used to being obeyed, realizing they no longer held that power, and still walking away like they did. I stood still for a few seconds after they left. The dance floor was frozen. The music had stopped halfway through a beat, hanging in the air like a held breath. My bride stood beside me, her hand still in mine, perfectly still. Then the DJ, unsure but professional, dropped a safer track, something upbeat, too bright for the mood. The guests moved slowly at first, hesitant, like waking up from something they didn't understand. But the spell broke. Laughter came back. Chatter returned. Glasses clinked again. But nothing was quite the same. I saw it in their eyes. The way some of our guests looked at us with something like awe. The way others avoided our gaze completely. A few were visibly shaken. Most weren't sure if they should smile or apologize. But no one said a word about what happened. They didn't have to. We had burned through the illusion. And I wasn't sorry. Not one bit. My aunt tried to save face. Well, she laughed, too loudly. That was dramatic. My cousin muttered something about always knowing Danielle had a streak in her. Someone else clapped my shoulder and said, that was one of a boundary, man. My bride and I danced again. Slowly. Not for performance this time. Not to entertain or fulfill expectations. Just for us. Just to reclaim the space. Every step felt like a quiet declaration. We're still here. Still standing. Still married. Still free. Later, in the car, we didn't speak much. The silence wasn't awkward. It was earned. Like we'd crossed some invisible finish line. Like the worst had happened, and we'd handled it. When we got home that night, we parked the car, our car, in the garage and locked the doors twice. The next morning, the aftermath began. A Facebook post from Danielle. Some people value money more than family. Hope it's worth it. 50 likes. Mostly people who hadn't shown up to the wedding. Then my mother posted a photo of the sunset, captioned, learning to let go is painful, but sometimes necessary. Still praying for those who forget where they came from. That one stung. Not because I believed her, but because I knew she did. She still believed she was the victim. Still believed love meant ownership. Still believed that parenting gave her a lifetime license to take. We didn't respond. We went silent. And silence was our new weapon. They were expecting calls. Please. Reassurances. They thought eventually I'd reach out and say, let's just move on. But we didn't. We unfriended Danielle. We muted my parents. We left the group chats. The GoFundMe Danielle created for a vehicle emergency caused by betrayal made $108. One of the donations was from someone named Karma. I didn't laugh. I didn't share it. I just kept the screenshot. 2 days later, a text from my mom arrived. You're still angry. I get that. But this is going too far. I didn't reply. Then, family helps family. That's how we raised you. So I sent one message. One photo. It was the legal document. The cease and desist. The signature line. Below it I typed, help isn't theft. I wasn't supported. I was expected to give. And I blocked her number. We left for our honeymoon 3 days later. We took the car. Our car. The one Danielle thought would be hers. The one we almost lost to guilt. We drove out past the edge of the city, out where cell towers dropped and roads turned to silence. We slept in little mountain inns, ate gas station snacks, and laughed at dumb podcasts. My wife took a photo of me driving, sunglasses on, grinning. She posted it with the caption, the man who finally stopped apologizing. I didn't ask her to take it down. I didn't need to. Because for once, I wasn't shrinking to keep the peace. The next wedding invitation we got was from a college friend. The RSVP card had a line that said, song requests or notes for the couple. I wrote, don't invite people who think love means access to your stuff. 2 weeks after we returned, I got one missed call from my dad. No voicemail. That felt deliberate, like a breadcrumb. But I didn't call back. I didn't need to. The silence was already saying everything. I used to think boundaries were cruel. That saying no meant closing a door that should always stay open. That family, even when they disappointed you, even when they disrespected you, still deserved space at your table. But then they tried to steal the table and told me to be grateful. It's strange what happens when you finally stop explaining yourself. At first, it's quiet. Then it's lonely. Then it's free. Truly free. I didn't hear from Danielle for months after the wedding. Not after the GoFundMe flopped. Not after her post about being abandoned by people she trusted got 30 likes and 0 shares. Not even after her birthday passed without a single text from me. I thought she might rage, might show up at my door screaming. Instead, she vanished. Like entitlement with nothing left to take. My parents were quieter. More surgical. My mother sent one long email. "We raised you better than this. I don't know what she's filled your head with, but I hope you come home soon." I didn't answer. She followed up 3 days later with a photo from my childhood, me and Danielle on the porch, arms around each other, grinning. Caption: "Don't let her erase your memories." I deleted it. I didn't need to forget where I came from. I just stopped pretending it was ever a safe place. People talk about breaking cycles like it's a single act. Like you cut the rope once and the damage stops echoing. But it doesn't. It lingers. The guilt, the reflex, the voice in your head that says, maybe I'm the problem. It took me 3 therapy sessions just to admit I didn't miss them. That what I felt wasn't grief. It was relief. I wasn't mourning my family. I was detoxing from them. My wife saw it before I did. "You don't owe them love," she told me once, while I stared at my mother's 5th unread message. "You owe yourself peace." It sounded dramatic at the time. It doesn't anymore. I changed the locks. Not metaphorically. Literally. Replaced the garage keypad. Reprogrammed every smart lock. Deleted every backup contact on our emergency list. I took their photos down from the fridge. Not out of anger. Out of accuracy. Why display people who only saw me as a resource? I kept one photo of me, standing in front of the car they tried to steal, suit wrinkled, tie loosened, jaw set. My wife took it seconds after they left the wedding. It's not a happy picture, but it's honest. And sometimes, honesty is the only kind of love you have left. I still get occasional messages from relatives. A cousin DM'd me a few weeks ago. "You've made your point. Isn't it time to forgive?" But forgiveness isn't a point. It's not something I owe people just because they share my blood type. Danielle forgave herself every time she took. My parents forgave her every time she failed. Nobody ever forgave me for saying no. So no, I don't forgive. I move forward. For our first anniversary, we drove the same car, the one they tried to reassign mid-reception, out to the coast. No GPS. No destination. Just us, windows down, wind in our faces. At one point, my wife turned to me and said, "Remember when we used to explain everything to everyone?" I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because I'd almost forgotten that version of us. The apologizers. The justifiers. The ones who thought staying silent was the high road. No, we don't whisper anymore. We say exactly what we mean. When we got home that night, there was a letter in the mailbox. No return address. I knew the handwriting instantly. Inside was a birthday card. A generic one. The kind you find near the checkout aisle when you remember too late. It said, "We miss you. We love you. Come back when you're ready to be part of the family again." My hands didn't shake. My chest didn't clench. I just stood there completely still. Then I tore the card in half, dropped it in the trash, and walked back inside without looking over my shoulder. Because here's the truth. I don't miss them. I don't want their version of family. I don't want a seat at their table if it comes with a bill. I want peace. And I have it. Every time I unlock my door without wondering who might be behind it. Every time I start the car and know it's mine, not borrowed, not begged for, not offered with strings. Every time I wake up beside someone who never made me earn their love. That's what they never understood. You can't steal peace from someone who fought for it. And you can't gild a man who finally knows what it feels like to be free. So if they ever wonder why I don't come back, why I don't reply, why the silence is still ringing after all this time, let them sit with that. Because I already gave them their answer. It came in an envelope. And it left them speechless. It's been 3 years. They still don't have my new address. I bought a second car last winter for my wife in her name, paid in full. When the dealership asked if we wanted a vanity plate, I didn't hesitate. It says, "NO for you." Sometimes I wonder if Danielle's seen it. If she even has a car. If my parents are still covering her gas while pretending it's Grace. I heard through a friend of a friend that she moved back in with them. That she tells people I cut her off for no reason. That's the thing with people like her. They rewrite the ending so they can keep playing victim. Let her. I'm not part of the cast anymore. Last month, my wife and I bought a lake house. When we signed the deed, the lawyer asked, "Any family you want to add to the title?" I said, "None that would survive the background check." She laughed. I didn't. We framed the final clause of our prenup, the one that states all marital assets are mutually protected from third-party claims, and hung it in the guest bathroom. Below it, we added a little plaque. Family isn't something you're owed. It's something you nurture or let go of. The last message I ever got from my mother was just 6 words. "We were only trying to help." I didn't respond. I just forwarded it to my lawyer and added one sentence. Add this to the ceasefire record.